Hey folks, Josh here with just a quick disclaimer about this episode. We had some technical difficulties with the network cutting in and out because I relocated across the country and set up a new office. So there's a few scenes where the audio lags and things cut out or jump a bit. The issues are fixed now, and I've tried my best to edit out the breaks and salvage as much of these sessions as I could. They had some great stuff in them, and I want them to be part of the campaign's legacy even if they're slightly broken. So thanks for watching and sticking through it with us. Without further ado. Back with a new RPG. We're here tonight to play Blades in the Dark, and we have a special guest DMing for us. Craig Shipman from Third Floor Wars is here. So, thank you so much for being here.
You're not DMing? What are you gonna do then, Josh? Are you just gonna leave?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Well, and to clarify, Adam, nobody is DMing. I'm GMing.
Oh, yeah.
So I am, first of all, super excited that you guys invited me to play. I've been enjoying your content for a long time, and to get a chance to play with this table was pretty exciting. We are playing what is my favorite RPG, Blades in the Dark. It is written by John Harper, available from Evil Hat Productions. If you do not own this game, go buy it, and trust me, even if you never play it, just by reading it, you will be better at RPGs than you are now. I think one of the things that's wonderful about this game is I've done no prep. So I have not only no idea what these characters are going to be, I have no idea what this crew is going to be, and I don't even know what our first score is going to be, but you're going to watch how organically we go from where we are now to starting to play. So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out where the hell are we? So I want to welcome all of you to the cold, foggy city of Duskfall. This is a dark, industrial walled city. And I want you to imagine a world like ours, but during the second industrial revolution of the 1870s. There are trains, steamboats, printing presses, simple electronic technology, carriages, and the black smog of chimney smoke everywhere. Duskfall is something like a mashup of Venice, London, and Prague. It's crowded with row houses, twisted streets, crisscrossed with hundreds of little waterways, canals, and bridges. The city is also a fantasy. The world is in perpetual darkness, haunted by ghosts, a result of the cataclysm that shattered the sun and broke the gates of death open 1,000 years ago.
No big deal.
The cities of the empire are each encircled by crackling lightning towers, there to keep out the vengeful spirits and twisted horrors of the outside Deathlands. Now, to power these massive barriers, the titanic metal ships of the Leviathan hunters are set out from Duskfall to extract electroplasmic blood from giant demon terrors upon the ink-dark void sea. You see, we are in a haunted Victorian area city, trapped inside a lightning wall, powered by demon blood. Now, the four of you are going to be playing scoundrels. And you're in Duskfall, this walled city. You are an up-and-coming crew that has just come together. Your goal is to become a faction worth contending with inside of Duskfall. There are dozens of factions at play in this city, and the four of you have got it into your silly little heads that you are going to move up the tier list and become a bigger and bigger factor here in Duskfall, which means the first thing we need to do is decide what type of crew you're going to be, because not only do each of you have a character sheet, but the crew has a character sheet as well, and we're going to build it together real quick. Now, off camera, we've made the decision, but I want everybody watching to know the choices. You guys could have been assassins, which are exactly what they sound like. Bravos, which are mercenaries and thugs. You could have been a cult, which are acolytes of a forgotten god. You could have chosen hawkers, which are vice dealers. You could have chosen smugglers, which are contraband transporters. But you picked what I think is probably my favorite crew type, especially for people new to Blades in the Dark. You chose Shadows. Shadows are thieves, spies, and saboteurs. So we're going to go step by step through the crew creation. The first thing that we need to decide about this crew is we need to decide what is your initial reputation. So the four of you have gotten together to start this crew, and you want to have a reputation here in Duskfall. Do you want to be known as ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange, or even something different? And the crew will gain XP if you're able to demonstrate movement towards this ambition. So what are the four of you thinking? What do you think is going to be the ambition of this crew?
Oh, man. There's a real part of me that just wants to be brutal.
There's a part of me
I mean,
that wants our crew's name to be whispered, not spoken. Almost like it's something that people know not to talk about.
So you want to be mysterious and feared?
If we're going shadows,
Let's see.
How about subtle? Right, you get
Subtle's
the
not
job
bad.
done, but nobody knows your name. Nobody
Yeah,
speaks
we
of
want
you.
to stay completely under the radar so that people argue about whether we even exist.
but also, I mean, if you want to roll brutal, and we be the saboteurs.
We could do that if we were thugs. We went shadows. I think subtle sounds cool because
All
then
right.
we can play up trying to effectively not exist while turning the city on its head.
All right, so I'm going to mark you guys for subtle, and this is what we'll just want to think about as we're playing, right? Because we can get XP if we demonstrate a move towards that goal. So the next thing is we need to come up with our lair. Now, you guys are just getting started. You're on the lowest of lowest rungs. So you guys are going to have like a sunken grotto or abandoned watchtower or an unassuming back room of an abandoned building. That's what your lair is going to be. But more importantly, where is it going to be? So Duskfall has several districts. Each of those districts have different qualities, things about them that make them significant and different from others. So looking at the different districts, let me give you just a quick summary. Up to the north, you have White Crown. That is really the center of not only the government in Duskfall, but for the entire empire. So there you've got the Lord Governor lives there, the Hunter Commander, the Master Warden, Duskfall Academy, and all of the government buildings are in White Crown. Below that, you've got Brightstone. That's where the rich are. The grand mansions and the luxury shops and all of the wealthy elite live in Brightstone. You've, of course, got Charter Hall. Charter Hall is the city's civic officers and hub for shops, artisans, and commerce. You've got Six Towers off to the east. That is kind of the formerly rich district, which has gone into disrepair. So it used to be Brightstone, but no longer is. Silk Shore off to the west. That's the Red Lamp district. Just what you think it sounds like, but it's also home to a lot of artisans and the artist communities. You've got Night Market. Night Market in the southeast is the trade center for exotic goods imported by rail. Many vendors also trade in illicit goods there. In the center of Duskfall, we've got Crow's Foot, a cramped neighborhood of multi-level streets ruled by gangs. Crime is at its highest in Crow's Foot. You've, of course, got the docks. This is where the ships come off of the Void Sea. You've got Barrowcleft, the residences and markets for the farmers who work the fields, and the Ealeries. We've got Coleridge, the remnants of Duskfall's original hilltop mining settlement, now home to laborers and industrial factories. Coleridge is really your blue-collar district. Char Hollow, the maze of tenants and squalid row houses. It's where a good number of people in Duskfall live, not rich, not necessarily criminals, but just eking by, doing the best they can. And then last but not least, Dunslow, that is a labor camp served by convicts and a ghetto for the destitute poor. Not necessarily a great place for a lair, but that does exist in Duskfall. Now, as a crew, you're going to be deciding two things. The first thing you're deciding is, where is this lair? And then you're going to decide on a hunting grounds, because we don't, as they say, poop where we eat. So first, let's think about where is our lair going to be?
What you think,
I have
Ames?
thoughts,
Oh.
but yeah, we should get Amy and Hank's input.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of being where the gangs are. I think that, like, especially if we're trying to be, like, really subtle, but, like, also, like, we exist, but you don't talk about us, being, like, right in the middle of it, it's not a bad idea.
So you're leading. It sounds like you're leading crow's foot.
A little bit. But I'm also open, you know.
Who likes crow's foot?
What do you
Like
think, Hank?
Crowsfoot.
I vote crow's foot or the docks because I feel like what better place to learn about different scores or learn about different things than a shipping community. And I mean, I back up what she says about being in the middle of all of it and being able to use that for subtlety. Hide in plain sight, as they say.
Can you restate the shtick for Crow's Foot? That one didn't stick with me as much.
Yeah, crow's foot is where the gangs live. So it's probably the high crime
the middle
area
of gangland. Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
a lot of factions, criminal factions are based out of. The 5 points of New York type thing.
Yeah.
Do hunting grounds have to be adjacent, or can they be
Not
anywhere?
necessarily, no.
Okay, because what I'm thinking there, right? Explain. We're on stream here. The reason I'm asking that is I'm thinking, if it had to be adjacent, then Crow's Foot gives us access to Charter Hall, where the civic stuff is happening. Silk Shore, if we want to start to take over the red light district, and access to the docks. To your point as well, Hank, where information is flowing and goods are coming in.
You're not far from Brightstone, and as a shadow, Brightstone is a lovely target.
Yeah,
we're all the
far
gonna
enough
have
from
100%.
White Crown to not be seen.
Yep.
Are we gonna have a hard time being invisible if we're right in the middle of the hot zone, though?
Mm-hmm.
That's my only concern because we
I
picked
mean-
subtle.
It
Yeah.
depends on how many heads you let me split.
All right, so I'm going to call for a decision here. Are we going to go with crow's foot or the docks?
Let's do Crow's Foot.
Crow's Foot.
All right. So I want you to imagine crow's foot. Now, crow's foot has seen better days. It is a just like other parts of Duskfall, it's a mishmash of alleyways, broken down, abandoned buildings, repurposed buildings that have been put together and used to house the criminals. You've got areas like the Crow's Nest, Tanglewood, the Strathmill House, the Red Sash Sword Academy. It's known for low security and safety, high criminal influence. There's a little bit of a cult and ghost action that's happening there. They're multi-level, cramped, dark, foggy streets. If you're imagining the worst, poorest lair, which hopefully will upgrade over time, where do you guys think the four of you meet? Do you meet in an abandoned building, in a basement, in a back room of a shop? What are we thinking?
Back room of a saloon or a bar. Hidden room inside there's not going to be a library in Crow's Foot. That would be in the civic district.
We could have an abandoned library, though.
That's a creepy ass place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pretty ignored, a place with a bunch of books and learning in the middle of a criminal hotbed.
Nothing bad happens in the book depository.
I love that idea. You guys good with that?
Yeah, let's do that. I was planning
Let's
on
do a
playing kind
back
of a scholarly
room.
character anyway, so
And
I'm
a
gonna be
book
all over it.
depository in Crow's Foot. All right, so that being the case, what is our hunting grounds? Where are we focusing?
Listen, I don't know if y'all had any initial gut things, and maybe it's just because I love to play like the rogue thief slip in. I love the idea of being in a Brightstone, where the grand mansions and the luxurious shops, where all the elite are at. You slip in, you steal something kind of expensive, they might not even notice.
They have the best parties there too, I've heard.
Brightstone popped to my mind as a good target place when we were reading through them. I was leaning towards Six Towers as a potential hideout place because it's next to Brightstone and it's kind of the rundown part of that part of town. So I think it plays well
So we
Like if we're
don't
going to be a
want
bunch
Iron
of
Hook
thieves, we want to
prison.
go. We probably don't want to be prison robbers. I don't think that's a
Okay.
very lucrative
Okay.
profession.
Okay.
I mean, maybe. No, I don't know. It seems like a natural fit for, if we're going to be a bunch of thieves, let's go big and hit the rich district
I'm here for
or
it.
one of
Second,
them.
third.
So it was Brightstone. White Crown is like the government hub, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
Brightstone is
that's
more like
where
the rich residences and stuff.
the
Yep.
Master Warden's estate is. The big academy.
Do you want to be right where the guards are, though? That
No
I
that
like
seems
Brightstone.
kind of risky.
Yeah, Brightstone.
I like
cool.
Brightstone as a pick here. It seems good.
All right, so we're going to go with Brightstone. Now that we've picked our hunting grounds, next we need to deal with the fact that the Church of Ecstasy is
Ooh.
the dominant faction
Mhm.
in Brightstone. And as a result, we've got to decide what we're going to do about it. Now, money is abstracted in Blades in the Dark. There's a thing called coin. Your crew currently has 2 coin. And to kind of get an idea of what coin is, think of coin as like a month's sustainment. So you can live off a coin for a month, your entire crew. So it's a coin is a lot, right? And it's, again, just an abstraction. But what we have to decide is, we have got the Church of Ecstasy, and they're not happy that you have their district where they are the dominant faction, that has been your hunting ground, where you're doing your dirty work. So we have a few choices. If you want, we can pay them off. We can, and that basically you're going to give them a coin just to kind of give you room to work. You can pay the faction 2 coin as a show of respect, and you'll get +1 status with that faction. So you're always, for different factions, your status with those factions are going to change. If you get to -3 with any faction, you guys are going to be at war with them. You don't want to do that. Life sucks when you're at war with another faction. Now, if you want to keep your money, we can put you at -1 status with the Church of Ecstasy, and you can keep both coin. So how do you think you guys would deal with the Church of Ecstasy? Just like every faction, there's a part of them that's legitimate, but the majority of them are just a bunch of criminals like you are.
Infiltrate, overtake. I feel like paying them isn't very subtle. I feel like if we
Do we
pay them,
know?
it's just
Yeah, do we want to just try to be completely invisible and let them deal with us and be pissed off? Do we know what's their shtick? Do they have a like core philosophy or a or kind of a mode of operation
they have
So
any pamphlets
they're
we can
known
get our
for?
hands on.
I'm trying to
This is part
decide
of-
how much our group would hate them.
Part of the beauty of this game is we have a name,
hmm
and we're going to define who the Church of Ecstasy is over time together in play,
Okay.
which is fun. So the answer is, they're going to be who we make them to be. In my mind, when I hear a name like the Church of Ecstasy, I imagine what is presented as the legitimate religious order for the rich. They go there to give forth their tithe and take advantage of the social benefits of there. But there, in my mind, there's all kinds of dirty happening there.
Confessional is more of a pillow on the ground than a bench
Could
seat.
be.
So the options were like bribe them, double bribe them, don't bribe them at all, and then was there a 4th option?
Nope.
Okay, it's those 3.
We declare war.
If we don't bribe them at all, we start
He
at
doesn't
war,
speak
or we
for
start
us.
very close to
No,
war.
we start at -1, and -3 is war.
I see.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense to me to not bribe them at all and just try
I'm-
to be invisible.
Perfectly fine with using my talents to blend in. If you
Blend
need an
in with
inside
them.
man.
Oh, are they our targets, or are they just another criminal faction that we're
I'm
sort
saying-
of competing with?
We'll figure that out.
If you
Okay.
need
Figure
me to
that out.
like double agent,
It sounds
So,
like
yeah.
we're going -1 here.
Yeah, all right. I love it. So we're going to keep both coin. We're going to go to a -1 reputation with the Church of Ecstasy.
I like to
guys are
live dangerously.
You guys are tier 0. They're tier 4. So they're a very powerful faction. You are not ready to take them on head to head, but
I ain't never scared.
Not
we're
ready yet.
gonna- exactly. All right, so we've established our hunting grounds and we've got how we're going to deal with them. Now, special abilities. So if you go to the shadows, you have a choice of different special abilities. Now, by default, let me bring up your shadows real quick. Let's see here, the shadows. So you start, let's see, there's your upgrades. So you've got a choice here. We can do Thieves Rigging, which means you get 2 free load worth of tools or gear items. Underground maps and passkeys. You have easy passage through the underground canals, tunnels, and basements of the city. Elite Rooks. All of your cohorts with the Rooks type get a +1 die to quality rolls. Basically, this is as you build your crew up and start having some underlings with you. Elite Skulks. All of your cohorts. Cohorts are going to be the people that join your faction. With the Skulks type, get a +1 die to quality rolls. And Steady. Each PC gets a +1 stress box. This costs 3 upgrades to unlock, not just 1. So if you look at the shadows, what are you thinking for special abilities? We've also got Everybody Steals. Each PC may add +1 action rating to Prowl, Finesse, and Tinker. That's a really good one. That's an improvement you automatically will get. Ghost Echoes. From weird experiences or cult rituals, all crew members gain the ability to see and interact with ghostly structures, streets, and objects within the echo of Duskfall. Pack Rats. Your lair is a jumble of stolen items. Patron. Second story. What are we thinking?
I'm
So
so sorry,
we get one
what?
upgrade right now, and one special ability, or
Yeah,
what
so
do we
let's-
get right now?
Let me show you here. Give me just one second.
What page is that?
Yeah,
mind
so
me
let's
asking?
go through this real
It's
quick.
like
So if you
page
want to go to shadows, go to
94.
116 in the book.
124 if you're scrolling PDF.
And you're going to get one special ability to start.
Well, okay, one special ability, no upgrades to start.
And then you also are going to get some upgrades, but let's focus on special
okay.
ability first.
Special first. Okay. What are people thinking? On the upgrades, there was definitely 1 or 2 that stood out to me, but the special ability I'm still processing. Let's see.
So Everyone Steals, Ghost Echoes, Pack Rats, Patron, Second Story,
Slippery feels very on brand for being subtle, but I also really like Everyone Steals because I always love a free perk.
Everyone Steals, Ghost Echoes.
You know, if we want to kill him with the power of friendship, we have synchronized. So
You got any votes, Adam?
I'm here for the perk. Everyone Steals. That's cool. Patron, I feel like would be for a longer game, something we're going to commit to for a while longer for advancing tiers, which not against. I agree. Slippery seems very subtle.
I'm feeling Everyone Steals or Slippery for you guys based on what you've told me so far.
I think Slippery was the one that jumped out to me the most.
How often do we roll entanglements? You know what? I'll find that out when we play.
Every time you do it, at the end of every score, we do entanglements.
I think Slippery
okay.
just sounds dead on theme. So
Yeah,
that's
it feels
my
very
vote,
on brand
probably.
for us.
I think we should like triple down on being invisible.
Let's do it.
All right. So when you guys roll entanglements, you're going to roll twice and keep the one that you want. And then you get an extra die when you're reducing heat. So one of the resources here is heat, which is how much attention you're getting from the authorities. Based on what you guys are talking about, keeping that heat low, I think would be very important. So that makes total sense to me. All right. So let's now take a look at upgrades. You by default have 2, which is Hidden Lair and Training for Prowess. So you have a bonus when you train for prowess. And your lair is a secret location. So by default, nobody knows where your lair is, which makes total sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember if you just start with those 2. So give me just a second. Let me look at upgrades. All right, you get to add 2 additional upgrades to your new crew.
And the options are just the... Oh, wait, they go on to the next page. There's a lot.
You guys got the Elite Rooks, the Elite Sculpt, Steady, Thief Rigging.
Is it those 5 on
maps and
page 116?
passkeys.
Or...
Yep, and then you've got the defaults, things like Boathouse, Carriage House, Cohorts, Hidden Lair, which you already have, Mastery.
Where are those
Quality is an
default
interesting
ones?
upgrade. So the qualities for arcane implements, documents, gear, subterfuge supplies, tools, and weapons. That means that when you use these types of things, you have really nice weapons. You have really nice documents. And basically it increases the impact of using those things.
Yeah. Josh, I think the next page is for when we expand territory. We'll probably get to that.
I think the common upgrades he's talking about are on page 95, if you want to skim them.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Sorry.
95. Oh, good. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Secure lair. Quarters. We could go quarters if we want to have a true bat cave. Where we all just disappear to.
I mean,
vault to protect all the stuff we steal. Kind of makes sense.
vault makes a lot of sense to me. In just like the shadow specific ones, I think like thief rigging sounds good, but also just the quality one that he was mentioning both sound good. And if we get to, I think that we need to go with one of those.
I
Either
also
quality
really like
or thief
underground
rigging.
maps and passkeys for what that's worth.
I was about to say, I kind of want to play devil's advocate here and say underground maps and passkeys and quarters feels very, very, if we're tripling down on it, it
Yeah.
feels very like we can move without being seen. We can stay in this place and not be vulnerable. That said, thief rigging is tempting. And also, as far as staying quiet, documentation feels tempting. Because if we're going to create forgeries, we don't want my half dumb self drawing.
You're gonna have a
writing my
spider
name
on your
wrong.
team though as well. And spiders like that kind of stuff.
That's true.
I like
Amy, I think I cut you off earlier. You were still saying.
No. I was just saying, I mean, for someone who wants to like move around with very like limited gear, I like the idea of thief rigging and just like getting to freeload. But that's also very specific to the type of character that I'm feeling playing. And we've got like a variety of people. And so I don't want to lock us in on just something that would be good for my character.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I like underground maps and passkeys is similar to that, Josh. Like I feel like this crew would never take the same route back to their hideout twice. Right?
I think I like the same too.
You always double back, never reveal the hideout.
All right, so
I think I like the same too as Hank, quarters or underground.
So I'm going to lock in underground. Now, one thing that I will tell you as an advocacy for quarters is you've already got hidden lair. So now this means both at work and home, are now hidden. Right?
Yeah, that's why quarters stood out to me, is we wouldn't have to worry about being anywhere else.
And we can all live together.
It's like a bat cave. It's like a just super secret place that we can all go to that nobody else knows about, and we can live there when we need to.
Don't worry, Ames. I can carry your stuff.
All right, beautiful.
I'm good.
Yeah,
with
I mean,
either
I'm
of
fine
those
with
choices.
Okay,
Do
Josh.
people prefer? Let's put it to a vote between the options. Do you have a preference between underground passages or underground passkeys or quarters?
I mean, I'll back out and I'll do quarters. I mean, that sounds fine to me.
You like quarters?
Yeah, I mean, quarters also sounds good. They're all really great. It's a very tempting. I don't mean to be like a pushover, but they literally all sound great. Craig, can't we have like an extra?
Well, you guys can work towards them, which is fun, right? So let's do that.
That's
Let's do
what Josh
underground passkeys and quarters. Now, the other thing I'll tell you guys, and this is me as a GM.
Oh yeah, we get two, so we get both. Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
For me as a GM, everything we're doing right now is in pencil. I'm a firm believer we don't know who this crew is until we start playing. In the same way, we don't know our characters until we start playing. So it's very possible that we'll do our first score, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, Craig, now I'm not feeling this. Now that I've learned who this crew is, I think we would have chosen this." So you guys are going to get the ability to erase and rewrite. So we shouldn't worry too much about that, which is good.
Yep. I forgot we got two. I was thinking we had to pick between those. So yeah, being able to get
Josh,
both of those
just so chat doesn't go off on you too hard, let's make sure we understand that Batman doesn't sleep in the Batcave. Okay.
But he could.
But he doesn't. I think you're thinking more like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? They sleep and live in their lair.
Speaking of chat, hello, Brian and Lazy. Thanks for chatting on YouTube. Glad to see you here.
And Kevin. Can't forget Kevin.
Sorry, Kevin. I can't read very well.
I wasn't
Dang it,
getting that
Kevin.
through my streaming software, so... Oh. Interesting.
Don't worry, Hank and
Okay.
I have been popping
All
up in
right.
the chat.
Moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's keep it going.
All right, now we're going to choose a favorite contact, right? And so as the shadows, if you go to the shadow sheet, you'll see that there are there's a list of 6 contacts. One of them is going to be yours. And each of those contacts are going to be +1 with a faction and -1 with a different faction. So looking at those contacts, can you let me know which contact you think you guys as a crew have?
Adelaide Lafloig. She's a noble, perhaps a source for scores among the elite. Sounds kind of like what we were going for.
Where is this located?
On the
This is on-
Shadows page 116 on the right-hand side.
Oh, in the book.
Or
Okay, I
page
was looking at the sheet on the...
124 on the PDF.
Got it.
See, I like the Adelaide idea. I like Rigney for the same idea as far as like news and gossip. Again, to be the devil's advocate, having a blue coat to like, are they onto us? I don't know. I mean,
I have 2 votes here. I like La Rose because having somebody to tip us off so that we can stay hidden better sounds cool. And I also like Fitz because our focus is thievery mostly, right? And so having somebody that knows leads on big scores could be cool. You could kind of get the same effect from the noble probably too, Adelaide.
Fitz may be able to help us with selling things as well, though. I vote Fitz.
You vote Fitz.
I didn't think
What did
about
Hank and Amy
offense.
think?
That's a good point. I feel like we're pretty good on concealment. I do like the blue coat thing, and that was the first one that jumped out at me when I read it. But I'm gonna back up Adam on it and say I like Adelaide. You know, if we're trying to scam the elite and steal from the elite, every noble I've ever read about has enemies. Why not let us take care of them?
I like that.
All right, so I'm going to give us Adelaide as our contact. All right, so now going back through our process, we have chosen our upgrades, we've chosen our contact, we have created our gang, we have our crew. Now here's where I start messing things up, because you see, when you
Yes.
chose your upgrades, there was one faction that helped you get one of those upgrades. So I'm going to take a look at those upgrades and decide which faction may have helped you. So you're in Crow's Foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
And I think for you to be able to function in Crow's Foot, I think that you have become buddy with the Red Sashes a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we have.
So the Red Sashes, I'm going to put you at +1 with the Red Sashes. So they helped you kind of find your place, have told you this depository is yours. Don't get it in our way. We don't get in your way, but you're +1 with the Red Sashes. So they're the ones that helped you get that. Now you can spend a coin and we can get yourself +2 with the Red Sashes. Are you good with the +1?
I'm personally good with the +1, simply because I'm like, I like being buddies, but also we're our own thing, and we're trying to be subtle. So it's good that you like us. I don't really care if you like us a lot, but that's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'm pretty neutral on this one.
I think if we go too high with them, they're going to expect us to start wearing the sashes, and red is not my color.
Spoken like a spider.
All right,
I say we
so
stick with the
we're going to leave
+1.
ourselves at +1 with the Red Sashes. Now, you've also pissed somebody off, a faction off, by being in Crow's Foot, and I'm going to give that to Ulf Ironborn. Ulf Ironborn is a Skovlander. He is really become kind of a figurehead and a champion of the refugees, the Skovland refugees. He has been doing a lot of organizing inside of Crow's Foot and is growing in power there. you guys operating and living inside of Crow's Foot is something he's not crazy about. So I'm going to put you at -1 with Ulf Ironborn. So even though Ulf is a person, Ulf is also a faction. And
It's a
guys,
big deal.
yeah, we're using Foundry. So if you go to your Foundry, if you go to the actor sheet, you'll find you should be able to see faction balance as one of the options. And you can see me adding each of these factions. So you can quickly go and look. So Ulf is tier 1. He's 1 tier above you. The Red Sashes are tier 2. And then the Church of Ecstasy is tier 4. All right. Now, our favorite contact, we chose.
Is everyone seeing that? Sorry, Craig. I hate throwing off your groove. I just want to make sure I don't get left behind to look at the thing. So I'm in the actor's sheet. Under Wander, I see our characters. Then I see Umbral Means, and I see clocks.
You don't see faction balance?
There it is. Got it. I just needed you to tell me 3 times.
Did you want me to spell it? Would that be easy?
It would. I was looking for the silent K at the start of faction there.
Yell and scream. So let's talk about Adelaide. So Adelaide is a noble, perhaps a source for scores among the elite. Now, because of that contact, one faction is also friendly with this contact, and you're going to get +1 status with them, and one faction is unfriendly with this contact. And I get to pick that. So we're going to define Adelaide more and more over time. Little known fact, Adelaide worked themselves up from nothing. I think Adelaide did not start in nobility. I think Adelaide may have married into nobility, and maybe Adelaide is from Crow's Foot. I think that maybe that's how you know them. So Adelaide was once a billhook and does not help the billhooks anymore, ignores the fact that they were a billhook. So I'm going to put you at -1 with the billhooks because of your friendship with Adelaide. Now let's talk about a +1 as a result of your connection with Adelaide. I'm going to give that to the Hive. So the Hive is one of the centers faction on information. And I think maybe Adelaide's connections with the Hive is what allowed them to move from being just scoundrels lifting off scraps like you to nobility. So you're going to be +1 with the Hive, and they're tier 4. I put that in there. Tier 2 for the billhooks. You guys are -1 with the billhooks. Last but not least, what do we call ourselves?
I knew this question was coming, and I knew I would hate it when it came.
Didn't Adam?
All right,
name us
let's just
like at
take
the
an
start of
hour-long
this?
break here. And
Adam had a good name.
Adam, what was your name? You had a good name. Oh god, I can see the panic in his eyes.
the not red sashes.
Did I? You had a name at the very beginning. Yes, you were like, we want to be like not seen, not heard. You had a name at the beginning.
And I was thinking, oh god, what a great name.
Didn't I say like we wanted to be like our names would be whispered, not spoken, or something like that?
Yes,
that's what it was. Whispered, not spoken.
Whispered, not
Do you want to
spoken.
be the unspoken?
Love that.
The unspoken kind of rolls off the tongue.
I love Unspoken. Ladies and gentlemen,
Go Adam!
This is going to be the adventures of the Unspoken and how they became from nothing inside of Duskfall to the most powerful faction in the entire city.
Well, that was easy.
Now we need to make people. So let's go into character creation real quick. 8 steps. It's going to be relatively easy. I know each of you have chosen a playbook. So go ahead and bring up your playbooks so you have them referenced. I'm going to walk you through it. For those watching, though, here are the different playbooks that are available to them. They could be a cutter, which is your violent fighters. They could be a hound, which is your tracker, ranged combat expert. They can be a leech, which is your alchemist, your saboteur, good at explosives and tinkering. You can be your lurk, which means you're very good at stealth and sneaking around. You can be a slide, who is your face, your manipulator, your social centrifuge. Your spiders, which are the masterminds that look over the web of all the connections and are always the puppet master. And then last but not least, our whisperer is the arcanist of the group, the one who connects with the ghost field, with ghosts and with magic. So let's go round robin. Start with you, Amy. Amy, what playbook did you choose?
I decided to go with the lurk. I love a good stealthy infiltrator and a burglar.
And that's what it was. You want to be the sneaky one?
Oh yes, I wanna be sneaking inside to a building while everyone is like, how do we get inside? And just open it from the inside.
So for
We're
Amy, I
already
clicked
inside.
on your sheet. I clicked on class and I added lurk. Let's now go to Hank. So Hank, open up your sheet, click on class. Which did you choose?
I chose Cutter.
Why?
Well, I've kind of always leaned towards the martial classes in any kind of RPG. It's combat rotations or something that comes easy to me. And also, I mean, you haven't seen me in Forbidden Lands. Grunrock's a head cracker, so.
Oh, beautiful. So click on class on your character sheet. You'll see the list, and then let's choose Cutter. Perfect. All right. Next, Josh.
I'm going Whisper because I want to
Ooh.
be a knowledgeable warrior.
And what is really neat, guys that are watching, there's such a huge spectrum for each of these classes, right? So a cutter could be a small, badass ninja, or a cutter could be 6'7", 350-pound muscle, right? Whisper could be a bookish, academic, or a Whisper could be this freaky, crunchy, alchemist magician. There's just a huge range of what these characters can be just based off of the classes. All right, so Josh, go to your character sheet, click on class, go ahead and set
Cool.
yourself to Whisper. The one everybody's been waiting for, and that is Adam. Adam, what did you pick?
I am going to be the spider of the Unspoken.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so now you're going to choose a heritage. All right, and this is where you are from, and here's your choices. You can be Akarosi, which is basically a townie, right? You're from Duskfall. You're from the empire that won the Unity Wars. Think of Akarosi as kind of your typical 18th century European. You can be from the Dagger Isles, which is your seafaring corsairs and merchants. You can be Eruvian, which is your desert kingdom. Think Persia. You can be Severosi, which is your nomadic horse tribes. Skovlin, which we've talked about with Ulf Ironborn. Skovlins were the last nation to lose to the Empire during the Unity Wars. As a result, they were devastated during the Unity Wars, and now they have no home, and they're just refugees all throughout the Empire. Or you could be Tycherosi. Tycherosi are an interesting group. Nobody quite knows where the Tycherosi are from. Some believe they don't even exist. Some say the Tycherosi are part demon. So, Amy, which of those heritage speaks to you?
That is such a wonderful question. I think maybe you said Akaros or Akarosi?
Akarosi?
Akarosi. I think just, being it's home to the capital city, it's really diverse, it's a conglomerate. It's very easy in a diverse city to kind of like fade into the black.
And as a lurk, I think that makes a ton of sense, right? You don't want to stand out. You want to fade into the background. So I love that. So click on your heritage under your character name on your sheet, and you should be able to choose Akaros. All right. Hank.
I'm going to go full opposite. Tycheros is calling to me.
All right, choose Tycheros. Now you have to pick out something very specific. I want you to go to your notes section, which is towards the bottom. It says abilities loadout notes. Let me know when you get there on your character sheet.
I see it. Okay.
I want you to type in and tell us, what is the weird demonic feature you have? Do you have solid black eyes? Do you have horns that you hide under your hair? Do you have a tail? Do you have maybe scaly skin or hands that if people saw it would wonder if you're demonic because of the claws? What is a feature of you that really bolsters this idea that the Tycherosi are not human? They are definitely part demon.
How about naturally sharp teeth, mouthful of fangs?
I think let's do it. Perfect. So needle sharp teeth. How does that
You just want to be Grunrock.
Beautiful. All right, Josh, what is your heritage?
Iruvia. I want to be a
Iruvian.
foreigner with strange esoteric knowledge and I want to feel a little bit like I look down on these people.
I love it. Eruvian Whispers is a great combination. Great
Ah.
combination.
Quick aside, these heritages are super well written. I love the level of detail they go into on them. It gives you like just enough to get the point without lore dumping you, and it's
So,
really good.
Josh, this is what you just brought up is one of the biggest things that makes this my favorite role-playing game is John has given us just enough to start tune. So yeah, you being rumored to be part demon, I could totally see a tune. What was the other ones?
Consort and Hunt.
So consort is your ability to walk into the room and kind of get conversations going and hey, you know, I like you, you like me, and I need a little bit of information and just your ability to kind of work a room, work some contacts. I believe that our spider is going to have very high consort.
Okay. What, in the sense of the game, what does Hunt mean? I guess
Hunt is the tracking, the like range. Most of your ranged type stuff will be connected to Hunt.
And Sway, I'm assuming, is like your
Persuasiveness. Yep. So command is you're going to do what I say because I said so. Sway is this was your idea to begin with. So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
And I have how many points to play with?
So you're going to have 4 total. Right now, we're just deciding what ties to being Taikarosi.
What ties to being Taikarosi? I think let's swing in a different direction. Let's go with the consort because, you know, Silver Tongue Demon. Why not?
Well, and I would imagine too, as Taikarosi, you know, you have by sheer survival, I would imagine you've had to got pretty good at being silver tongued, right? Because of the teeth, because people look at you and immediately see you as different. You've had to have been a little bit of a smooth talker and the ability to create social connections in order to survive as long as you have. So that makes total sense to me. Total sense to me. All right, next, let's talk about your background. If I remember correctly, it was, what did you
Laborer.
say? Your background is a
dock
laborer.
worker. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a dock worker, where do you think you've picked up?
Again, just reading the words, not necessarily knowing what they mean. Survey and Tinker jump out.
Yep. Tinker is the ability to basically build things, to mess with things, right? To pick a lock, to build a bomb, to mess with something, right? Mechanically in there. Survey is the ability, again, to read the room. Finesse is your stealth, your agility. Prowl is your sneakiness. Skirmish is your ability to beat the hell out of things, right? To face to face. Wreck is just to destroy shit. That's what wreck is.
I think
a tune we talked about. That's connecting to the ghost field. Command is to tell people what to do. Consort is to work with people at a social level, and sway is to convince them of things. So with your background as a laborer, what do you think you picked up?
Background as a laborer. Maybe moving so much and building so much, I got really good at tearing things apart. I know how things go together, so I know how to take them apart.
A cutter that has 2 dots in skirmish and a dot in wreck is somebody I don't want to meet. So I love that choice. Love that choice. All right, you've got 2 more dots. Where are they going, Hank?
Oh, man. And nothing can go over 2, right?
You can't go to 3 in skirmish, but you can go anywhere else. You have nothing in insight. Is there something that you think that our cutter has from an insights perspective? Do you think he can survey or study? Do you think he can walk into a room and read the room with survey? Or maybe he can look at somebody and immediately figure out who the hell they are with study? Or maybe if you think you're going to get away from our cutter, he's going to hunt you down. He is going to always find you. Or do you think with all of the different things you've come across as a laborer, all the boxes and crates that you've unloaded in all of your years, you've seen it all, you know how to mess with it all, you know how to fix it all, or break it, or repurpose it?
Yes, for dock worker, but also for being, you know, the whole Taikaros and needing to be silver tongued. I almost think study and survey both, maybe one in each.
Great.
You said I have 2 more?
Yep.
That I did.
Intelligence, you also picked up what?
Yeah, that one's gonna go to study.
Ooh, so that gives you 2 in study, or 1 in that gives you 2 in
Gives me up to
study.
2 in study, yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. All right, you got 2 more to go. Where are you going to drop them?
We're gonna double up on prowl. We're gonna grab a
Ooh.
second one there, and then we're gonna take 1 on command because the operative like to be behind the scenes, but occasionally needs to get everyone to listen to what the fuck they have to say.
Right. Sometimes you're everybody's buddy. Sometimes you're the go-to guy. Sometimes you're the guy that says, this is how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
yeah.
Perfect. All right, Josh. We got to catch up just a little bit here.
Yes.
all
So,
right.
quick question.
Yep.
I don't seem to be able to assign my heritage or
I
my
just took care of it.
background.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
I'm going to go
background-
academic for background.
Academic for background, which
Yep,
is that's
Seems
great.
straightforward.
All right, you've got a default 1 in study, 2 in attune as a whisperer.
Yeah.
With your Eruvian heritage, where did you pick up an action dot?
What are my options for that one? Sorry.
Any of them. You can pick up. The only thing
Oh.
you can't do is get a 3rd dot in attune.
Okay, so that can go anywhere.
Yep. Now, and to be clear for you guys, like you can assign those 4 wherever the heck you want, right? This is just
Yeah.
a guide, which is the 1st dot is because of your heritage, the 2nd dot is because of your background, and then you get the 2 freebies.
Sure. We will do study for my heritage. I was a scholar
Alright.
where I came from.
Makes total sense.
For my background,
What did you pick up as an Eruvian?
oh, that was the heritage. So that was my intent for study.
Okay.
And
As an
then-
academic, what did you pick up?
So I can't go to 3 on these, right?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe study makes more sense as an academic. And for my background, or for my Eruvia, I will do consort.
Love it.
I'll be a little talky.
All right. The last
I've
2
traveled.
dots, where are they going?
I feel like I should get something in the prowess category, even if it's not my thing, just to have a thing. So I'll do prowl. I've been sneaking around stealing books from libraries since I was a little kid. And for the other one, I will go with, I'll do a 2nd dot and consort.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Last but not least, the 4 of you go out there and do your scores. You do your heists. And in the process of doing those heists, you are going to gain stress. Hopefully, you don't take too much stress and it takes you out of the score. But over time, you're going to build up the stress, and you need some way to relieve stress. So when you're not in a score, when it's just you and you need to burn off some steam, what is your vice going to be? Do you use faith, right? Do you have some sort of religious connection that allows you, through meditation or to a deity, allows you to kind of unwind? Are you a gambler? Do you like to gamble? Do you like to treat yourself? Book yourself something in Brightstone, maybe a hotel in Brightstone that maybe you barely can afford, or buy yourself that pair of shoes that you almost don't deserve. Or is there an obligation that brings you peace, a sick relative, an orphanage that you maybe perhaps volunteer? Pleasure. Do you get high? Do you go to the brothel? Stupor. Do you get really high and just obliterate yourself at the tavern? Or are you weird? Do you do some crazy stuff, right? Do you put yourself in a position where you can have a conversation with somebody who died 45 years ago? So, Amy, starting with you, click on Vice. What do you think your character does to burn off steam and to get rid of stress?
Man, to be honest, I'm kind of torn between 2 for the same reason. I really love the idea of both luxury and stupor, especially as someone like from the streets. Like, ah, man, it feels really nice to flex, even when you don't have it at all. But stupor for the same thing. Like, listen, I cannot afford all of this food that I'm eating, but I'm eating it anyway.
This is an important character decision, right? So is you becoming a criminal and joining the Unspoken, was that a step up for you? A step
Yeah.
sideways or a step down, right? Because if it's a step sideways and a step down, I lean towards stupor. But if this is a better life for you than it was before, then I lean towards luxury. You know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, you know what? And that's a really good way to put that. I think luxury. I think that joining the Unspoken is an opportunity to like not just live in the background, or well, not to just live like on the streets, not to just like steal for just a moment, but when you're with a group, you're working towards a goal, make a little bit more money,
yeah,
spend a little bigger. So
love it. All right, let's choose luxury as your vice. All right, I'm staying with you, Amy. You've got your name and you've got your alias. What's your name?
I feel like for this time period, the name I'm going to go with is Elizabeth. Just feels very, very classic for 1870s.
So maybe somebody in your crew calls you Elizabeth, but they probably call you something else. So what is your alias? What's your superhero name?
Should it be close to my regular name? Should it be definitely different?
Question only one person can answer, and it's not me.
Come on.
I'm gonna let you sit on it. Let's move over to Hank. So Hank, which vice talked to you? My dock working cutter.
Dock working cutter. You know, all dock workers drink. Alcohol is not really a thing that affects us in that way. Getting beaten up in the pits kind of feels nice every now and then. Going for stupor, a little mind-numbing pain.
And here's what's great, Hank, is you don't have to decide what that stupor is yet. We'll decide that later. And again, once you get into the skin of this cutter and start learning this character through play, you can decide what is that stupor like. Does your cutter like to go to the fight pits? Does your cutter like to go to the opium den? Right? There's all kinds of ways we can have this vice occur. So if you like that as a concept, pick it. Let's go with it, and we'll define it more later.
All right, I'll go with stupor. Why not?
All right, name.
Oh Lord.
I kind of dig what Amy did. Just pick a first name.
Just pick a first name.
Yeah, you guys are close, but not that close.
Demonic heritage, but I want to blend in. Yeah, demonic heritage, but I kind of want to blend in. And since it's just my teeth, you know, maybe there's a chance of me seeming somewhat normal.
Yeah. I bet you've gotten really good at hiding it. So I'll be curious to learn whether maybe there's facial hair or something that you use to. The only people that need to see your teeth are the people you wanted to see your teeth, right?
Yeah. Maybe for name. Dang, I'm always bad at this part.
Well, here's a question for you, right? Let's think of gender norms. Do we have a gender for our cutter?
Male.
Okay, yes. So we're thinking he, him, right?
He, him.
So we're thinking he, him. Are we thinking big cutter or ninja cutter?
Big cutter.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm a huge fan, and this is just me. I'm a huge fan of a big he, him cutter having a very she, her name.
What up, Susan?
Or even
Johnny
like
Cash
a
right
name
there.
that could go back and forth, like a Jordan.
You know what?
Yeah. Yeah, come on.
Stella.
That's amazing. I love Stella. Put Stella. Don't even think about it. That's an incredible choice. Now, there's a reason you have an alias because your name is Stella. So I want you to think about your alias while we move to Adam.
Okay.
Adam, what's your vice?
I'm a material girl living in a material world.
Perfect. So luxury.
It is luxury all day.
All right. What is your name?
Yeah, her name is Yashka von Drofman.
Oh, Yashka.
Yashka.
Josh.
That's amazing.
Oh, she has an alias
All
too.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna save the
I got it.
alias.
All
Not,
right.
not everybody's like ahead of the like. You're way ahead of everybody, Adam.
You know,
You know what? I see. I
can't.
see you. We're dealing with amateurs here.
Desperate.
Was
to
there a
prove
step
myself.
before names?
Yes, Josh.
it
I
named?
need to know how you let off steam. So
Oh,
click
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
Vice.
I
Click
wanna-
on Vice on your character sheet. Look at that list.
Yeah. I want to go luxury.
Oh, that's
I'm
a
from an-
popular one.
We're going shopping.
Multiple people did it already. I picked this independently, but I want to be
No.
from a place that was much more ostentatious, and now I'm here in this hellhole, and I'm like, ugh, this place sucks.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the olden days of where I grew up in like palatial areas.
And for those, for you and for everybody watching, there is no downside to everybody having the same vice because each of you are going to have your own vice dealer, right? And each
Cool.
of these vices can be different. So even though luxury
type
is
of
the
luxury.
choice for 3 of them, is it a spa day? Is it shopping? Is it a makeover? Is it massage? Like what is this luxury? And it can be
Mhm.
totally different, even though it's the same
I
category.
like to be fanned with a big leaf for a long time.
Fed grapes.
While I fed grapes while I lay on a couch. That's my idea of luxury.
Amazing. There's got to be a cat there somewhere.
Yeah.
Chew.
Pointy.
Hmm.
Razor.
Ooh.
You're with it with the names tonight, huh?
Bear Trap.
Bear Trap. I'm going with Bear Trap.
I love Bear
was-
Trap.
That was pretty great, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
All
go
right,
with Bear Trap.
alias
Thanks,
Bear
Adam.
Trap. That's perfect.
You know, every RP group needs a creative director, so happy to help.
All right, so I can see it, but the stream doesn't know this yet. Adam, you've picked a phenomenal alias. I want to know what it is and why you picked it.
Well, my alias is Bitsy. And this is gonna play on multiple levels. I mean, obviously the itsy bitsy, right? But also Yashka is no average sized woman. Yashka is Skovlan, almost like Viking warrior, 6'3".
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm thinking Rebecca, what's her name in Ted Lasso, right? She can make
Oh
herself.
yeah,
Yeah.
she is. In my mind, she's the true embodiment of feminine handsome.
Oh yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Where you just look at her and go, "What a handsome woman this is," and I am
Yeah.
so attracted to you.
You think I
love
want
that
her to throw me against a wall.
Exactly. I want to spend time with you, and I want to be in the emergency room when we're done.
But if someone says go find Bitsy, she's the last person you're approaching.
Right. Exactly. So you're gonna go to the bar and you're gonna find Bitsy. Let me describe her to you because the name doesn't help. That's amazing. All right, guys. So let's pause for just a second. In an hour and 15 minutes, we've learned about the world. We've created a crew. We've already built allegiances and enemies. And we've created 4 characters. And I think what we do now is we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back from the break, we're going to start playing this game. So again, another reason why this is my favorite RPG is that we don't have to spend 4 hours making characters. We have built this entire world, this entire crew, and all of these characters have already got flavor and are just dying to play. We're going to do that after this break. How do you guys handle breaks?
I got to give you my name though,
Turn cameras off.
because I just. Can you all hear me?
I can hear you, Josh. I'm not sure everyone else can. Josh
I
asks,
can't hear you, Josh.
I can only hear him on stream.
All right,
so-
hang on one sec.
What's Josh telling us?
I hear him. He's saying he needs to give us his name.
Oh, all right. So why don't you play telephone and give me Josh's name?
Josh, let me have it.
One sec.
He says 1 sec. Great
I've
name.
got it. Josh
Great
chose
name.
Latham
I wanted
as,
to
his-
deliver.
as their
I
name.
wanted to deliver
Oh,
the
he wants to
name.
deliver it. He feels like he's missing out by
Listen.
not getting to.
I agree. So here, let's. If Josh can Josh hear me?
He can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So Josh, here's what we're gonna do. Let's create a new OBS Ninja instance.
Yeah.
When we get back from break and bring the cameras in back again, that way we're all together. And then when we get back from break, we're gonna learn more about our whisper, and then we're gonna start playing this damn game.
Yes.
All right, 10-minute break. Are we good?
Works for me.
Awesome.
I see. All right. All right. The overlay is hideous, but we're playing. This is how we
All right.
survive.
So we got a couple things to cover here real quick before we start playing. I lied to you before the break. One thing that I forgot is the friends and rivals, which is something that is so cool about this game, is for each of these character classes, there's 5 people listed in a very general vague way. And we're going to watch these NPCs get defined over time in a way that they're going to become people we love and hate at the same time. Each one of my players is going to pick one as a friend and one is a rival. So Amy, for my lurk, who is your friend?
I mean, Frake and I go a long way back. He's a locksmith. He's kind of like an expert that I like to go to for consultations.
That's a good friend to have as a lurk. Now you have a rival. Who's your rival?
Freaking Darmot. He's a blue coat. He's busted me a handful of times.
They're the worst. The worst. In no way is having a rival as a blue coat going to come back and sting you. So that's a perfect choice. That was a good choice.
Never.
Hank, tell me about your friend, Hank.
Really good friends with Marlene. A fist fighter down in the boxing pits. High quality lass, that one is. Gave me a couple good knocks in the head. Grace, though, I'm not a big fan of Grace. Extortionist. Real weird thug. Don't really like hanging around her. She's skipped me pockets a couple too many times.
Oh, Grace the Extortionist. I'm dying to learn more about Grace. Adam.
Yeah.
Yashka's got a friend.
Yashka.
Yashka. Tell me about Yashka's friend.
I have this friend Jaren. He's a blue coat archivist, and
Archivist.
he's my double agent in the City Watch.
Interesting. So you've got somebody in the belly of the blue coats that
I
has
do.
access to all the books, all the histories.
Well, we can change history. It's going to be in the books, so that's what we're doing.
Beautiful. But there's somebody you don't get along with, and I want to know who that is. Yeah.
Oh, August, freaking architect. He says you can't get into my security systems. But I can. I get into all of them.
Beautiful. All right, Josh, we got some catching up to do. You ready?
Yes. All right. I'm ready.
Name.
My name is Lassim, which is a very common name in the foreign land that I come from that I totally remember the name of. And Iruvia. There we go. And my nickname is Hoods because I have a cobra tattoo on my neck. And I also wear a dark hood. And so people call me Hoods.
So you know what's even crazier about that is that nobody in Duskfall has ever seen a cobra. So the fact that you have that tattooed on you makes you more exotic than anything, right? Because if someone were to ever see that tattoo, which I imagine you keep hidden, they're like, what the F is that? So that's fantastic.
Cool.
All right. You've got a friend and you have a
I
rival.
do.
Tell me about your friend.
I have a friend named Satara who is a demon that I conjured once and used to be my servant, but now we're partners. Partners in crime from back in the day.
And who's your rival?
My rival is this vampire named Skurlock that I keep running into, and every time I do, I just hate the guy, and we're always up in each other's business, and that will continue to happen so that I don't have to retroactively come up with how that happened in the past.
So, and if you haven't figured it out, I'm a fanboy, right? So again, now what we've done is just created 8 NPCs that now inhabit this world and will be a part of everything that we have going forward. So here's what happens next. Now you thought Blades of the Dark was different. You have no idea. Now what we're going to do is we're going to execute our first score. So the Unspoken is about to do some crime. Now, if you are used to other heists and other games, this would mean we would have 3 sessions of planning where my 4 players would make sure that they've got every base covered. They've made every decision that needs to be made. We are not going to put ourselves in danger. So we are going to bore the hell out of each other for 3 sessions trying to get this heist ready. But the reality is my 4 players are not criminals that I know of. But my 4 characters are. So it turns out these characters are really good at crime. So we're going to make that assumption that our 4 characters that we've just created, they know how to do all of this. So what's happening right now, if you imagine this cinematically, is we are in that Ocean's 11 montage where these 4 characters are pulling out maps and books and just piecing together what this score is going to be, covering every single angle, coming up with every single contingency. At the meta level, at the player level, we just need to make a couple decisions. So the first thing we need to decide is, what's our target? Now, something that is really neat is we're given a very cool basis to work from. So if you guys open up, and you can do it on your character sheet if you want, open up our Unspoken character sheet. And at the bottom under turfs is areas of control. And they could be physical areas or they could be metaphysical areas, right? These are things we're going to try to acquire over time. Coming off our lair, which is where we start in the middle, there's a web that leads out. We could try to acquire a loyal fence, somebody that we know we're going to be Steely McSteelerson. But it's one thing to steal something. It's another thing to turn it into coin. So maybe we need to find ourselves a fence who can turn what we steal into coin. Turf. There's a lot of land out there in Duskfall that we do not control. We are based in Crowsfoot. We hunt in at the rich part of town. We need to pick up some turf, some areas of Duskfall that we want to be not known as the Unspoken, though we control every aspect of it. We need an informant. We need somebody who can help us as we start to plan these scores going forward. Is this somebody in the blue coats? Maybe somebody that's in one of our rival factions. If we open up the factions, we can look at our rivals. We need an informant in one of our rival factions. Or maybe we need an informant in one of our friendly factions. There's benefits to having that as well. Or covert drops, which is there a place where we need to be able to easily exchange coin, information, product with other parties that we know will not be affected? So those are potential targets and goals that the Unspoken can have. But the Unspoken can also say, we just want to steal some shit. And that could be our goal. So I want the 4 of you to think about it for just a second and talk amongst yourselves. What is going to be the goal of this score? And the more specific you get, the more I'm going to argue with you and pull you back. I want you to think high level. When this score is finished and you have accomplished it all, you're going to all sit down and have some mushroom brewed coffee and say, you know what we just gained? We gained this. What is this? What is your goal for the score? Do you want to hurt a rival? Do you want to help a friend? Do you want to pick up some turf? What do you want to do?
I have told you all again and again, until we have a powerful source of magic at our disposal, we will be vulnerable. We need to steal the ancient relic that lies at the heart of the place that you talked about.
So, Josh, I'm going to slap your wrist right now. You've gotten way too specific.
Yeah, why do you talk so slow?
Right. So, and Josh, this is okay. This is important for us to go through.
Mm-hmm.
What your goal is to acquire an artifact that will help your that will help your crew.
Yeah.
That's the level I'm looking for right
Okay.
now. Right? And what's
anybody
cool
else
about
have-
this is you're going to see as we play, we're going to define it down to what you talked about. But at a high level, I think we need an artifact that's going to help us going forward. So that's what Josh advocates.
I hear what you're saying because I know you like your magic, but look at this place. It's terrible. Okay, there's nothing like to look at. It's not comfortable to be in. I think we need to make this place better.
So what's your goal?
To steal some good shit to hang on the walls.
So you want to acquire some coin. Am I understanding that correctly, Yashka?
I mean, either the coin or I'll take a fancy painting. That'll work. Some rugs, maybe some comforters.
How did I end up working with you?
Because I always knew you would.
Look, I know you got all the fancy words and stuff, but none of that matters. We need a place to make exchanges. We need a place that we can drop money and get information. I'm not at the docks no more. And quite frankly, none of y'all do any good sitting in chairs.
We're going to have 4 different votes if Amy doesn't break the tie. She's got a bandwagon on with somebody.
Why are you doing this to me?
So
It's
said
fun.
Marie, we did exactly what you asked. We went last, and it was not good for you either.
You guys suck.
So as Marie hears all of this arguing happening, where does Marie lean?
So for clarity, what are our options here?
Adam wants to get rich. I want to steal a magical artifact so that we can exert our power in the city, and Hank wants a reliable fence so that we can get rid of stolen goods. I think.
Hmm.
If I paraphrased anything wrong, let me know.
Well, I think there's just one thing to do here, lads. We're going to have to go with the girls. We're going to steal something and make a bit of money.
Yeah, let's get rich.
I mean, at this point for the Unspoken, we can all have lofty goals, but we've only got 2 coin. I think it's critical for the Unspoken to steal something valuable and turn that into coin. That's our goal. I love that. So now we've got to decide what type of score are we looking at? Are we going to burgle? Are we going to assassinate? Are we going to do espionage? Are we going to rob? Are we going to sabotage? How are we going to gain coin?
I mean, based on our target district and our base choices early on, it seems like our core thing is getting into rich people places and stealing stuff from there. So
I think we're
You
talking
wanna
burgle.
do we want to kick it off with a burglary, or does somebody have a more specific other type of thing they wanted to?
No, I think burglary sounds good. We'll get in, we'll get out, and if anyone notices us, I mean, we got a guy who can crack some skulls.
Fine.
Isn't that
If
right,
we
Stella?
make this place, what do you say, pretty, then can we steal something of consequence later? Would that make you happy?
Of course. But before we can take over the entire city, like, we have to be able to feed ourselves and live somewhere nice. And I know just the place. They all go out at night. We can get in, get out, get some coin, get some things.
This place is already beautiful. Look at these dusty ancient tomes that surround us. The knowledge of the ages on the very walls.
Right, couple of useless books. Ain't
I
done
can't
much
wear
for me
books.
anytime recent. Listen, we need the bar. There's not enough drinks in this place.
I could go for a martini.
How did
This is-
Nassim end up with this crew?
This is
We have-
still
we have-
somehow better than the life
we have a
that
goal?
I had.
We have a goal and a target.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need the approach. So we can approach the acquisition of coin in Brightstone through assault. We're going to do violence on a specific target. We're going to do it through deception. We're going to lure, trick, or manipulate somebody to acquire coin. We're going to do it via stealth. We're going to trespass unseen. We're going to do it via occult. We're going to engage a supernatural power to acquire coin. We're going to do it via social. We're going to negotiate, bargain, or persuade somebody to gain coin, or we're going to do it by transport. We're going to carry cargo or people through danger in order to acquire coin. We're in Brightstone. We are going to burgle. What is our approach?
Not quite sure anybody likes that escort mission. So maybe sneak or violence?
I think we keep it simple. We find when people aren't home, we go into the house and we take their things.
Fine. You claim to be uncatchable. Let's test that theory. Let's all be uncatchable.
I knew you'd get on board.
Oh wait,
Stealth?
but you're the spider.
I'm
You're the
uncatchable.
mastermind here. Unbelievable. So- I quit.
I knew you'd say that.
I'm just gonna go play Forbidden Land. So who was the stealthy character though? Amy?
That's me.
That's
Okay,
Amy,
Okay.
better known as Elizabeth.
I think we should start just like straight down the middle of what we're about. Let's do a sneaky heist in a rich person's.
Let's use stealth to steal some shit.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's
Absolutely
kick it
love
off with our core thing.
So, what we don't realize is that these 4 characters have come up with the perfect plan. And in play, we're going to realize not only how great this plan was, but how they probably should have planned for another hour or so because it didn't go exactly as they planned. The way this is encompassed in the game is a thing called the engagement roll. We're going to make one roll to decide where we start. Do we start in a really good position, which means the plan is going off exactly as they assumed? Or has things gone sideways? Or have things gone really sideways and we're going to start in a very desperate bad situation? And the way we do that is with one roll. You're going to find in this game that we do a lot of things with one roll. Combat is not an hour long with 15 rolls. Combat is one roll. Everything we do in this game is one roll. You're going to find a lot of times we don't roll at all. But let's start with engagement. All right, who's the best with dice among the 4 of you? Who's the worst? Everybody has a reputation in every group.
Point of order, just before we do that, Craig. In character creation, were we supposed to choose our ability?
Did I not let you guys do that?
Special abilities.
Did we hop
not
it?
do.
Do we need to roll back? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
think
do it.
we hop special ability.
We did. Go ahead and pick one.
Let's hop back real quick.
Oh God. No.
Let's
We'll
pick
make it
one
speedy.
and let's surprise people with it.
Love
I
it.
dig it. It's any special ability from our class section. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Of course.
I swear to
I'm here
God, I've
help.
run this game so many times, and there's always one. Like, I was super proud to remember the rivals and friends because I've forgotten that so many times, and I missed something else. Thank you, Adam. All right. While you guys are looking through that, who's legendarily a hot roller? Who's the cold roller?
Well, Josh tends to kill us with dice when he, GMs. So
So Josh
Yeah.
is a hot
There.
roller.
He did
That's
also
usually
roll a
not my
double
fault.
20 the first time we met in person.
All right,
So-
all right, all right.
I don't think I've ever seen Josh roll a character roll before.
All right, I've been elected.
No, you have not. I've not heard the cold roller yet.
I'm the cold roller.
Hank is the
All right,
cold
so-
roller.
Oh,
And Hank is in charge of the roll.
Oh, beautiful.
No, I mean Hank is great. Hank is great. Josh is terrible.
So here's what's about to happen.
What am I rolling, boss?
What I need you to do, and you can do this however you want, Hank, is I need you to keep track of die. All right, you can do it with your fingers. If you've got dice in front of you, that's fine. But we're going to roll it on the VTT. But let's start off with one thing. You get a die for sheer luck, so you're at 1. Now we have to decide: is this operation bold or daring? I think it definitely is bold or daring. You're going from Crow's Foot to Brightstone, way outside of your class. You're going into the territory of the Church of Ecstasy of the Flesh, which is 4 tiers above yours. So you're at 2 dice. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? No, you guys made it very clear. What you're doing is you're saying, we're doing what we do, which is we're going to find something valuable. We're going to take it from you because you don't deserve it, and we're going to turn it into coin. So normally, if it was overly complex, we would subtract a die. We're not going to do that here. You're still at 2 dice. Are the plan's details exposes a vulnerability for the target? Are you hitting them where they're weakest? The target is the Church of Ecstasy. and you are going to be hitting them at their sanctorium, which, you know what? You're bold as hell. Hats off to you guys. That was a hell of a choice. That's going to be a -1 die. You're down to 1 die. I appreciate how bold you are, but that's one hell of a first score. Now, this is critical. Is there a friend or contact that can provide aid or insight? So you guys are going to hit the church at their sanctorium, and you're going to steal something valuable from there. Looking at your friends, can any of you make an argument that you have a friend that can help you in this process? Go ahead, Amy.
I would say that Frake has, because he's such an expert in what he does, I would say that it's very possible that he either built the lock that is on the church, or he is very familiar with it, and he could give me some practice in breaking locks to different doors or things to get into the building.
So, Amy, when you meet Frake, where do you tend to meet Frake? How do you get in touch with Frake?
I tend to just walk past and drop a piece of paper, drop a note by his door. And when he sees it, he grabs it. It's got a time and a meeting place. It's always somewhere different.
So I want to cut to darkness, because it's always dark. When you shatter the sun, there's never light in Duskfall. The only thing that we have in Duskfall is the green glow of the electroplasmic lights, street lights. We see Marie going to the drop zone. And Marie, I'm imagining what you're hoping to pick up from that piece of paper is the information you asked for. As you unfold the paper, all you read is, "See me." Where do you go when Frake says to you, "See me"? Where do you go?
There's an old abandoned building that we used to break into and sleep in from time to time, back before he was a locksmith, before I joined up with the crew. It was just a place to stay out of the cold or out of the real hot.
So I'm imagining that Marie immediately heads towards that section of Crowsfoot. Alleyway from alleyway, that if you're not from Crowsfoot, it all looks the same, but not for Elizabeth. You know exactly where you're going. You walk into this abandoned building, and to your surprise, there's a table in this abandoned building that is much nicer than deserves to be in this building. And on there are 2 saucers, 2 cups, and 2 mushroom teas brewing.
I'm going to walk right up, and I'm going to lean against the table. If there's a chair, I'll pull up a seat. I'm going to grab a tea and just start drinking. I hope that this tea is just a prelude to the lock that you're going to show me.
And you say that out loud, right? And as you finish that sentence, you feel Frank's hand on your shoulder. Where the F did he come from? But you hear his voice. "What are you thinking? The church?"
Yes, obviously.
"Elizabeth. Can I call you Elizabeth?"
If you must.
It's all I've known. I know you have a new name with your new friends, but to me, you're Elizabeth.
Yes.
Elizabeth, I have been behind your decision. Going with those other 3 amateurs will help you, but it's more help for them than you. We've talked about this. And I realize Bright Stone shines as a target for making coin. But my God, at this point, for the 4 of you to be hitting the sanctorium, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, what better way to make a name for the Unspoken than by hitting an untouchable place, by taking some money. Everyone will know us then.
If we have not done this before, I would walk away right now. But if there is anyone who can lead 4 bumbling fools, it is you. How can I help?
Well, I imagine that you're at least somewhat familiar with the kinds of locks on that building. Do you have anything I could practice?
I've been in and out of the sanctorium 3 or 4 times on Thursdays.
Of course you have. See, that's why I come to you. And you come to me when you need something. Now, do you have something I can practice on? I'm a bit rusty.
There's no practice. Take this. And what Frank hands you is a ring of keys.
You wonderful bastard, I could kiss you.
You won't forget about me when you're the dominant faction here in Duskfall, will you?
Of course not. Of course not.
So Frank gives you a little bit of a kiss on the cheek. And Marie, there's an asymmetry to your relationship with Frank. I think Frank wants one relationship, you want another. We don't know exactly that asymmetry yet. So this kiss means many things. But we're going to just add a die because of that kiss. So we're going to cut back to our engagement roll. We're going to get +1 for our friend in contact because of Frank. Is there anybody else who thinks that their friend or contact can help you hit the Sanctorium?
I mean, I have my demon friend, so it's possible he could be relevant. Does anybody else have one that feels like that one feels like a little bit of a stretch? Although, I mean, a demon helping break into a holy place, I could see an argument for it. If nobody else has an idea, I'll jump in with the demon friend.
Hank, Adam?
I don't really see how my pit fighter can help. Maybe that's just my scope of imagination, but
That's another score down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adam?
Yeah, the blue coat archivist, maybe.
I could
Do you
say
wanna-
that.
Do you want to connect with them? Who do you think is the better one? I'm going to let you. We're going to get one. I'm going to allow you guys one more. Do we want to use the
I
demon
like
or the
the
archivist?
idea of the demon.
I mean, I could see that maybe since we're breaking into a holy place, maybe they have some sort of holy protections in place, and the demon knows how to subvert such things.
So when you have a complicated relationship, a very complicated relationship, Hoods, with
Satara.
When you need Satara, where do you go?
Oh, Satara likes to live in the filthiest part of the sewers because Satara is a demon from the filthiest part of the hells.
So I'm imagining we see Hoods pull a manhole cover and
With my long robes.
vanish like a ninja, just falls down. Somehow, even though the drop is 20 feet, Hoods somehow we see the manhole cover come back down and close. No idea how Hoods was capable of that. Hoods, you start working your way through the sewers of Crowsfoot. Much like what we saw with Elizabeth. Anybody else, every one of these large engorged pipes would be the same, but you know exactly where you're going. As you turn a right, you go to a favorite place for Satara. The smells have been of urine, rat droppings. You've been ankle deep in just this briny, milky, green ick. But as you turn the corner, everything becomes bright. And standing in this little alcove, we see Satara. The last time you encountered Satara, can you describe them for me?
Oh, Satara is a let me think. Satara likes to dwell in filth, but is not a demon that looks like they would dwell in filth. Satara is sleek and colorful and kind of a fancy demon.
So you turn the corner and you see what you expect, which is clean, almost sterile white walls. The muck just stops. as if there's a barrier that's preventing the muck from reaching this area of the sewers, but there's no explicable understanding of why that is. You're entering a part of the sewers that existed before time, that is outside of space. And you expect the elegant, clean sitar that matches this setting. That's not what you see, though. What you see is an old hag, a woman with half of her face that has sloughed off out of death, and dirt, bug-ridden hair, and torn clothes. Sitar turns to you and goes, "This visit is unexpected. I am not present for you."
My old friend, you know I would never mean you disrespect.
You are not to see me like this.
I am very sorry. It is... But do you need to
Turn!
prepare yourself? Would you like me to
Turn!
step out? I am turning.
When you turn back to a masculine figure standing there with cheekbones that could cut stone, perfect white straight hair braided with flowers. "I'm so sorry, dear. This is why I tell you to tell me first before you come."
I still do not know why you like this place. Is it because it smells so much like brimstone?
"No, my dear. That's what it smelled like before you stepped in. And this place is not where you think it is. It's not when you think it is. It's where I say it is, and it's when I say it is. We've talked about this before. You have a lot to learn. You only come to me when you need something. So let's cut the pleasantries. What do you need?"
All right. We're planning a score against the... Remind me.
The church.
The Church of the...
The ecstasy of the
Ecstasy.
flesh.
The Church of Ecstasy. We're planning a score against those pious bastards in the upscaley district, and I anticipate holiness.
So, Lysum, you're better than this. This petty faction stealing, bitty, take this, sell that. You're far more powerful than this. We have talked about it.
You do
I
not
don't
think I brought
understand
this
why
up
you're playing checkers.
because I need to work with the pieces that I have. And the pieces that I have are obsessed with making our house look nice and fancy, but they have skills that I cannot get by without. You understand I would not be asking for this as a triviality.
Fine.
I just need someone who knows how to...
You come to
Get
me
by
from
the
help
light.
because you are under the misconception that the ecstasy of the flesh is holy in any way, that it is diametrically opposed to me. But my dear, the Church of Ecstasy is demonic on its own. If the church is anything, it is an ally. So if you came for opposition research, you have come to the wrong person. I don't know if I can help.
Are you perhaps familiar with their methods then?
My dear, I taught them their methods. What do you...
Well, this is wonderful news.
Are you trying to get into the sanctorium?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to help you with one thing. 400 years ago, the front gate did not exist. Use the ghost field to go back 400 years. You can bypass the front gate as well as the front door, and you can get next to the vault. Take you and your silly little friends, your human, whatever the hell they are, take them through the ghost field, get them past the front gate 400 years ago, past the front door 400 years ago, come out of the ghost field. You'll be there today. Does that help?
Of course, of course. Yes, that is very helpful. Thank you. And next time I will knock on the sludge.
No, the next time you will send me a vial of your blood. Don't pretend that's not our deal.
Hmm. But it makes me so sleepy. Fine.
But you sleep well, my love.
I just turn and walk away.
That's an
That's
extra
enough.
die. I think there's no question the Centaura has helped us as we get ready for the score.
Okay.
All right, so our next question is,
Chills.
is there any enemies or rivals that could potentially interfere? So this is where I become a jerk. So let me take a quick look at your faction balance. We are at -1 with the church. That's our target. That we throw that away, right? We're at +1 with the red sashes, -1 with Ulf, and -1 with the bill hooks. Honestly, you guys are going above Ulf and above the bill hooks with this score. They are no factor, no change to the die. Where are we, Hank?
We're at 3.
All right. I want you to go to Foundry. You'll see at the very bottom the dice tray. Click that D6 3 times. Now, before you roll, we're going to take the highest of those 3 die. If the highest is 1 to 3, we are not starting in a good spot. We're starting in a desperate starting position. On a 4 or 5, we're going to be about where we thought we would be. Kind of risky, but we figured this out. On a 6, we're in a controlled position, which things have gone better than you even planned. If somehow on these 3 die, we end up with 2 6s, that's a crit. And you have bypassed all initial obstacles for this score. Yes, Amy.
Just a quick question before he rolls. When he rolls, will it roll over what is like the top of what looks like our notepad, or is there some place in Foundry we need to click to see the
So
dice?
if you on Foundry go to the chat on the far left, but you'll also see the die as they roll.
Got it.
It works
Thank
like
you.
Roll20. There's that dice, the chat stream that has all the. It's very similar to Roll20.
So no pressure,
Thank
Hank.
you.
I heard you're the best at die. Roll it, baby. A 3 and a 4 and a 4. So we're at a 4. We're going to be in a risky starting position. Are you guys ready to play Blaze in the Dark?
Warned you guys.
At least it wasn't a
This is
1.
already causing me anxiety.
The walls
That was in character.
are 15 feet. And they're a pure white that is in stark contrast to the rest of Brightstone. Brightstone is cleaner than any district in Duskfall. But yet somehow the Sanctorium is brighter. You're in the alleyway between the common buildings of Brightstone, which are worth more coin than you'll ever acquire in your entire life, and the Sanctorium. Our whisper has made it clear. I need to get close. I will then pull us into the ghost field. I will bring us through the Sanctorium 400 years ago and bring us back to the present, and we'll be inside. So I've got the 4 of you together, completely believing in Lysum. Lysum, how do you engage the ghost field? How do you go from today, now, in reality, to where time doesn't matter, physical doesn't matter? How do you enter the ghost field?
Probably using my knowledge of magic to good effect. This is probably a phenomenon that I will have studied and think that I know the proper methods to interact with it.
That's a given, but is there a ritual? Is there an object? Is there an action you take that says
so
we
describing
are
the
leaving
approach kind of
here and we are going beyond?
Sure. I have to let me think.
and this is a team question. So
Uh-huh.
by all means, help Josh define their character, right?
I think I need to
How do
shield
we
myself
think-
in some way.
Yeah, how does Lysum enter the ghost field?
I feel like I have to do some sort of ritual and like protect myself in some way.
I think, if I may, and this is, I don't know if I'm overstepping.
We'll tell you if you are. Go.
I think, yes, protect yourself, but I think something needs to be paid. To enter
It's not
into the
free.
realm of the dead, you cannot go alive. Something has to die.
And when you think about this, Hank, right, that makes sense because we are going from the present now. So when we think about the ghost field, it's not just alive or dead, it is time and place, right? The access that Lysum has to the ghost field allows him to bypass history, the future, the past, the realities. It is an incredible power that Lysum has access to, and that comes at a cost. I love that, Hank. What do we think that might be?
Sorry, Josh.
I think that I have to find a book that was written around the proper time period and burn it while
Oh my
stepping
gosh, that's
through.
what I was gonna say. I
Oh,
was
that's
gonna say you
really
gotta
good.
burn it.
I'm going to set the scene.
And it's going to break my heart to do it.
The four of you are standing there. I'm imagining the other three of you are slightly annoyed. I think you're slightly annoyed with the fact that the plan involves this Lysum spooky shit. Because I think each of you are like, we could have done it my way. Right? But that's fine. We're going to do it your way. We see Lysum pull out the book. And Lysum sets the book in the center of the alleyway and opens it. And it doesn't split to a page. Somehow it fans like a butterfly. So we see all of the pages open at once as an arc. Lysum, how do you start fire? How do you generate fire?
Can I say that I have some magical means of doing that, or
You
should
can
I?
say what you want, and I'll tell you if it's out of bounds. So say it. And let's go.
I will know a very minor incantation for creating some sparks.
We see Lysum do this, and Lysum does this when Lysum wants to make tea, right? So we see Lysum do this, and slowly, like steel in a forge, we see Lysum's fingers turn red, and there is no flame. So Lysum slowly rubs, and as Lysum touches the book, it immediately ignites.
The
I
death
think-
of knowledge is the death of hope. May this be spent for a good cause.
Of all of you, all of you have a head on a swivel at this point. You're exposed in your hunting ground. You wish to be unseen. I think the most aware at this moment and the person that cares the least about this spooky crap that Lysum is doing is probably Stella. So I think, Stella, you hear this. What the hell are you doing? And Stella, you turn and you see four blue coats coming down the alley.
Lads are setting great. We need to make it quick.
I said,
Something
what
bad's gonna
the hell are you doing?
sharing a drink among friends, Connor. What's the problem? It's the church. And I'll hold up a flask.
So here's the threat. The threat for you and the rest of our unseen is that you're about to get arrested. And Stella, I need to understand, how would you overcome this threat? So looking at your actions, you've got 12 of them.
Actions. Okay.
Right? You've got, what action would you use to overcome this threat? The threat is you're about to get arrested by four blue coats. So this is going to be a conversation. This is not your final decision. So you're going to pick one.
Okay, I was about to say you might need to guide me a little bit here.
Yep. So pick what makes sense to you. I'm going to give you the situation that puts you in and how effective it'll be. And you can say, Craig, that sounds awesome. Let's go. Or you might say, Craig, that's terrible. I want to try a different approach.
I'm in between consort and study. I either want to find like a blue coat that I somewhat recognize in the group, or consort and see if I can maybe talk them into taking a drink from the flash so they can't really arrest us because they're not on the up and up.
All right. So let's address each of those. Let's talk about consort, which is a situation where Stella leverages his ability to go, I'm a dock worker, blue collar. You're blue coats that don't give a shit about what you do. I have a flask here. Let's all have a drink. We're going to do what we're doing. You're going to do what you're doing. No harm, no foul. Nobody knows this happened, right? We're not as opposed as you think we are. Now, I'm going to give you a position. This is a risky position, which means if it goes well for you, it's probably going to go okay. If it goes bad for you, it's not going to be great. The other options for me as the GM is to give you a controlled position, which means you got this shit, right? Like this is not only is it, if this goes bad for you, it's not going to be that bad, but if it goes well for you, it's going to go really well. That's not the situation. Or I can tell you this is a desperate situation, which means if this doesn't go well from you, it's going to really, really not go well from you. Okay. Even if it goes well for you, it's not going to go as well as you think it's going to be. So this is risky. That's your position. The next thing I'm going to give you is your effect. I'm going to say to you, your goal is to get these blue coats off your nuts, right? You want these blue coats out of here. That's your goal. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to say, okay, my effect is standard. If my goal is the blue coats leave us alone, if you succeed on this roll, that's exactly what you're going to get. So let's talk about options before you make this roll. You got several. So one of them is you're going to use consort. How much do you have in consort?
Consort, I have 1.
Okay. On a 1 to 3, you fail. On a 4 to 5, you succeed with consequences. On a success, you straight up get your goal. You can get a bonus die. The way you can get a bonus die right now is you can take 2 stress. So right now you have no stress. You can say, Craig, I'm going to push myself. I'm going to take 2 stress. And instead of rolling the 1 die I have in consort, I'm going to roll 2. You can also say, like, dudes, who can help me out here? So if one of the other 3 of your crew can help you, they can take 1 stress and give you an additional die. You could also lead a group action. If it's not just you making this consort action, maybe everybody rolls consort. And we're going to take the highest die of the 4 of you all rolling consort, which is amazing. The problem is that for every 1 to 3 that's rolled, you're going to take all that stress. Or we could do a flashback. This ties to how good Stella is. We could potentially do a flashback, which means Stella has already planned for this. Stella knew these blue coats were on patrol. Stella knew this was going to happen. And Stella, he planned for this. So we're going to go back in time to the planning phase. And you're going to tell me, Stella, how you planned for this. And depending on how complicated this plan was, I'm going to assign stress for that flashback. Last but not least, I said it's risky, standard. You can get a greater effect. So you can go from standard to great effect, which means not only are they going to leave you alone, but maybe they're an asset going forward. But instead of being a risky position, I'm going to put you in a desperate position, which means if it goes wrong, it's going to go worse than we thought. What you feeling? Somehow we ended up with you making the first 2 rolls.
One of my 4 is shaking his head at me because he knows what I'm thinking, because he's played with me a million times. He knows I'm a gambler.
So there's one last option I'm going to give you. And normally I would not introduce this, but you guys are advanced players. There's a thing called the devil's bargain. What you can do is say, Craig, I want a devil's bargain. And what I'll do is I'll come up with a scenario, which is a consequence that's going to happen whether you succeed or fail. It doesn't matter. There's going to be something bad here. But it gives you an extra die.
We could devil's bargain that one of the guards accidentally gets sucked into the ghost field and goes back in time.
Oh, I come up with the
Oh, okay.
bargain. You no, Josh. and that was cute, but it's going to suck much worse than that.
Oh, you're just gonna die or explode or something. Fine.
You know, I gotta play like me. I gotta play like me. I can't not lean into my character. Josh, I love you. I want to make it desperate. I want to try to turn this into a net positive for me.
Beautiful.
And I'm gonna have tried to plan for patrols if I can go that way. Both.
So you want a flashback?
I want a flashback.
All right. How do you think Stella was ready for this? So we know now that a patrol showed up, came around the corner into the alleyway next to the sanctorium, and started asking you questions. Stella anticipated this. What do you think Stella did to cover this contingency?
I think the most Stella move would be to try to figure out if there are any taverns or hangouts that Bluecoats frequent, and attempt to see if he could figure out who was assigned to patrol near the church and start to make face with them.
I'm going to cut to a couple scenes.
Okay.
One is you asking Yashka to find out the patrols, the patrol patterns. Yashka, you put out your web and you got the schedule. You knew which groups were going to patrol at which time and in which district. You came back to Stella and said, Gordo is your biggest threat. We then cut to Stella figuring out, because of the work of Elizabeth, where Gordo goes when Gordo's shift is up. We're going to cut to the tavern. And it's in Crowsfoot, believe it or not. There's a tavern in Crowsfoot, and tavern's a strong word because there's no furniture. There's crates, there's boxes. This place is doing its best it can to present itself as a legitimate organization. The only people that come here are criminals because the ale is cheap. The wine is distilled of roots. But for some reason, Gordo, maybe it's where Gordo was born. Maybe it's the origin of Gordo. Gordo comes here for his vice, to burn off steam. We approach Stella, the tavern, with the information that you got from Yashka as well as from Elizabeth. What is the name written in carved out of knife in the wood above this establishment?
Carved in wood. We're in the crow's foot. Rusty penny. Why not?
You pass under the sign for the Rusty Penny. You walk in. I want to quickly paint the scene here, and this is for all four of you. Stella's never been in the Rusty Penny, but as Stella walks in, what is the one detail that Stella sees that tells Stella that the Rusty Penny wishes it was a real tavern? What does Stella notice about the Rusty Penny that tells Stella that the Rusty Penny wishes it wasn't just crates and barrels, that it wishes it was a real tavern? Who can give me a detail?
I've got one to consider. What if instead of like having actual casks, like they just have one, and every time like it starts running empty, they're just like pouring like plastic jugs like in the cask. Like, oh yeah, no, we're drafting, but they're just like refilling this one barrel.
I love this. So Stella, you walk in as you see them dumping that rat gut ale into this cask to make you think that it's some sort of aged ale inside of whiskey barrels, right? So you walk in, you know what Gordo looks like. You know where Gordo would be. Gordo is by himself in the back corner.
I'm going to start off making my way towards the keg. I'm going to pick up. You said money's kind of an abstract. I'm going to get.
Just tell me what you want. I'll tell you what happens.
I'm going to go get a mug of ale myself and start
Yep.
making rounds. Not going to Gordo first. I just want to start socializing with people in the room. Anybody who seems like they could start up a conversation, maybe a little too sauced. Don't mind talking to a stranger.
You start to work the room, Stella, right? Being very smart about this situation because Gordo is a stranger. Gordo doesn't know you. You don't know Gordo. And for you to accomplish this, to be ready for the score tomorrow night, there's critical information and critical concession you need from Gordo that's going to get Gordo off your ass, right? So smartly, you work the room. You start buying a mug here and a mug there. I don't know which of the crew is in charge of coin, but if they were there right now, they would not be happy with how you're throwing it around. That's when your head hits the bar, held by Gordo. And in your face is Gordo. The only person who buys ale here for the room is me.
Well, then I think you and I should probably start a conversation, friend. Because I'm new in town and I don't mind making a few acquaintances.
That's a lot of coin you're throwing around.
I come from a faraway place.
To the corner.
To the corner.
What's your goal? What do you want to accomplish in your conversation with Gordo?
My goal in my conversation with Gordo is to figure out what borough he's from, what part of Crow's Foot that he's from, and figure out if I know. And I mean, I'm trying to just lead him in general rabbit trails and then follow back. I want to find out what borough he's from and find out if we have any similar acquaintances.
Okay.
I want to then turn on back to my regular Stella voice instead of just the stranger voice I've been using. I want to let him know we have more in common than he thinks.
All right. So I'm going to push you a little bit farther, Stella. I want you to go back to where we started this flashback, which is Gordo and his patrol coming around the corner and saying to you, this is truth in the fiction, which is Gordo said to you, what the hell do you think you're doing? What we're about to decide is what happens next. So what is your goal for what happens next with this Gordo encounter in present time as we go to the flashback? Does that help?
What happens next?
What did you plan for? We already know Gordo came around with his boys.
Okay.
Blackmail or something.
I planned...
Convince him we're harmless.
Mm-hmm.
I planned to let Gordo think that I particularly am a very social and relatively harmless drunk who maybe just looks for people to have drinks with. So it's not outside the realm of possibility for me to be trying to coerce an alleyway full of people to drink with me.
So our goal is for Gordo to recognize what he finds in the alleyway is exactly what he learned the night before, which is you're an idiot, drunk. Yes. And if you're not drinking in Crow's Foot, you might be drinking in Brightstone. But regardless, you're a drunk idiot. Is that the goal?
The goal is to convince him to think that I'm dumb enough to see a name like the Church of Ecstasy and go, they'd love to have a drink with me.
All right. I love this. Let's keep going. So how are you going to accomplish this goal? The threat is that Gordo does not believe any of this bullshit. How are you going to accomplish this? Looking at your actions.
You got to do something real stupid.
Looking at my actions.
And if you don't have a dot in it, you can still choose it. You're just going to roll 2 dice and take the lowest. So I recommend picking something you have a dot in.
I'm going to say I'm going to lean into the consort.
I think that makes total sense to me, right?
Silver
You're
tongue here.
buddy with Gordo.
Yeah, I'm going to lean into the silver tongue here.
So this is, I'm actually think that your position here, Stella, is controlled. There's not a whole lot at risk here, right? If this fails, Gordo's just going to ignore you and write you off. It's not like Gordo's going to hurt you or implicate the crew at all. So this is a controlled situation. The effect right now is standard, which is Gordo's going to believe you're an idiot. And not only not take you seriously tonight in the flashback, but tomorrow night in real time is not going to take you seriously either, which is exactly what you're trying to accomplish. This is an action roll. All of those options I gave you for when Gordo turned the corner in real time apply here. Do you want to push yourself and get an extra die? I don't think anybody else is here with you, so I don't know if you can get help. I don't know if you can lead an action. Do you want to trade position for effect? What do we want to do here? Or just roll a die and see what the hell happens?
I think we just roll a dice and see what the hell happens. Lay the
Beautiful.
accent on thick and slur my words a little heavier.
So your head is on the bar. Gordo's in your face. You put on the charm, and Gordo, does not break eye contact with you, but talks to the bartender. 3 ales in the corner. Keeps his hand in your hair and walks you slightly impolitely back to the corner as 3 tankards of ale hit the table. He pushes 2 towards you. He takes 1 himself. Talking to me that way is impressive. You know I'm a blue coat, right?
You're Connor? I had no idea. I'm sorry, sir. You see, quite frankly, I'm a little down on me luck. And my mates in the bar here, well, hopefully my mates in the bar here, they just seem like generous people. I only had like enough coin for maybe 3 rounds, and I was hoping to make enough friends for 10. I say, you've got me too. I appreciate that.
And I'll slug 1.
And he goes, that's for your boldness. Let's sip this one together. I need a roll, my friend. Let's roll 1 die. And a 1 to 3, you accomplish nothing. On a 4 to 5, you accomplish something, but at a cost. On a 6, we're going to flashback real time. It's going to go exactly as you planned.
Oh, God.
So, let's see. You roll. Well, hold on a second, though. Give me your 1 die for consort, and you rolled a 2.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, you guys make a night of it, and Gordo has fun, and quite honestly, Stella has fun. But the problem is that as things wind down, as you stagger back to the depository, as Gordo staggers back to Blue Coat headquarters, in some flash of sobriety, Gordo goes, that bloke is not who he pretends to be. There are layers, and he is complicated. We're going to flash back to real time. You're going to take 1 stress for this flashback. It was not accomplished. So mark yourself for 1 stress. Gordo turns the corner. You offer the drunk idiot routine. Gordo goes, you are clear as water. What are the 4 of you doing here? I don't want to talk to him. And it points to you, Stella.
I'm over here conjuring. Somebody else got to jump in.
Is he?
I'm trying to burn a book without anybody noticing.
Yeah. I step forward. And I'll say, did you not see this on your patrol schedule tonight, officer?
Gordo steps back for a second. How does somebody that looks like you have access to my patrol schedule?
Well, because I filed the paperwork for this official protest, obviously.
So, what is your
Yes.
goal? The threat
Protest.
is you're about to get arrested by 4 blue coats. How are you going to overcome this threat? This is amazing.
I'm hoping I can pull an item out of this.
We did not cover that. So let's cover that real quick. This is a good point. Before the score starts, the 4 of you each need to decide your load level. And that decides how many items you're going to bring with you. So part of this idea that the characters know exactly what to bring, but the players don't, is you guys buy slots. And then real time you decide how clever were you to bring those slots. So let's start with you, Josh. Are you going to go with a light load, which means if someone comes across you, they would not think you're up to bad news? Are you going to go up with a standard load, which means you're a little suspect, but okay? Or are you going to go heavy load, which means you have like a crate or a huge backpack with you, which means if somebody sees you walking down Brightstone, they're going to be like, he's criming.
I'm not good at getting out of trouble if somebody is paying attention to me, and I think that my mind is all I need.
All right,
so
you're
I'm
thinking
taking
light
the
load?
minimum load. Yeah.
Stella?
I'm going standard.
Standard load?
I'm gonna AFK for 1 sec, but keep going.
Elizabeth?
Candidly, I think I'm gonna do something I was not planning to do. I think I might go heavy load.
How does that heavy load look? How does Elizabeth go heavy load as a lurk?
Elizabeth's heavy load is just like this really beat to shit backpack, and it's just like kind of always on my back. It's one of those like hikers backpacks that clips here and clips here, and I am just like, I'm so accustomed to like no one notices me. Sometimes like it just kind of like blends in with my clothes. My clothes are dirty, my backpack's dirty, no one notices. But I'm also just not, I'm not used to being seen. No one sees me. So I have all the stuff I need because no one's going to see me anyway.
I love it. And I'm imagining that you have it rigged so that there's 2 clips. And in literally half a second, you can nip 2 clips and the backpack falls off of you and you can go lurk to the lurkiness.
100%. I'm constantly kind of surveying like, okay, I'm going to have to climb that wall, but then I'm going to hop right back. Yep, there's a good spot for my backpack. Clip,
Yep, clip, go. Love it. All right, so for the person that matters that caused me to remember the load question. Yashka, what load do you have?
I have a standard load. I've got
Okay.
fanny packs, belt straps across my chest. No.
So let's talk about item and approach. So what item are you going to bring into play here? What did Yashka know she needed to have with us for this score?
She planned for this because she knew that lighting a fire in the middle of the street it's always night, is a little suspicious. And so let me pull up my sheet again. Where is my itsy bitsy spider page? There's the spider. Yes. This is going to be, I'm hoping to have my fine cover identity with me here. And in the form of paperwork that has been filed for an official protest.
All right. So mark it on your load. So you've used up a slot. So if you go to load on your character sheet, you can just hit it. We don't worry about it logistically. You pull out the paperwork, which you have prepared. Last night, you forged all of this fine paperwork. Grota goes, protest. Show me your papers.
Oh, well, absolutely. Everyone knows that the Church of Ecstasy has promised many outreach programs in the Crow's Nest, and they've failed to deliver. So it's simple. We're protesting them tonight with a little burn. Nothing that'll hurt anyone.
So Gordo takes the papers, goes through it. I think you quickly realize Gordo can't read. So you see Gordo kind of handing the papers to the young woman that's next to him. and going, "This looks right to me, doesn't it, Sarah?" And we see Sarah actually reading the papers going, "No, this looks in order, Gordo. This looks in order." I felt the same way. I need to speak to you, my lady, for just a moment. Can I pull you aside?
Oh, man.
And he kind of motions for you.
Of course. I turn around and I say, "Don't start the protest without me." I
I'm
walk
just
towards
like-
him.
I lean over and I'm like, will you please hurry the fuck up?
So
My
you and
hands
Gordo
hurt.
walk back up towards the main street. And Gordo, who is a good head shorter than you, Gordo looks up to you and goes, "My lady, I appreciate you doing the paperwork. That one," points at Stella, "I met him last night. He is a drunk and he's an idiot. So I don't know if you wish to be associating with him, and I advise you to be very careful on who you pick for your protest partners."
Oh, I do appreciate that. I'd actually never seen him before. We were just starting the protest and he came walking up. He tried to offer us a drink as if we're at some kind of party. This is not a party. Thank you so much for telling me that.
I am not surprised. Sarah, everybody, I think it's break time.
Oh, and officer, what was your name, by the way?
It's Gordo, my lady.
Gordo, it is such a pleasure to meet you. Hopefully I'll see you again, yes?
So Gordo, in a weird and inappropriate energy, hands you his card.
I take it with two hands very formally. Oh, heavy stock.
Who wrote it?
Gordo. And I
It's
just put it
handwritten.
into
I
one
love
of my...
that. Amy, I love that. It's a handwritten card, right? It's not like printed. So we see Gordo and the blue coats turn around. So mechanically, just going up a level real quick, that was the risky start to the engagement roll. They were not going to make it inside of the Sanctorium without any challenge. It wasn't going to be a huge challenge. It didn't take much. I didn't call a roll for our spider because spider used an item. And that item made sense to me. So there's no reason to have that. We've already put a cost to accomplishing this, and that was spending part of their load even before they got into the Sanctorium. We are going to close with understanding our whisper. The book is down to the spine as it burns. And as that happens, we see Latham in a place that Latham is very comfortable and familiar with. For the other three of you, one of you is very comfortable in this realm that Latham creates all the time. One of you is very uncomfortable in this situation. Which of you is the most comfortable with this crazy ass shit that Latham does?
I knew he was going to do it.
There's like skulls in the fire, just like
Who hates
occasional like
this?
moans going.
Oh. If you want it, you can have it. It's up to you.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yep.
Yes.
Rock.
Oh, they're gonna do this all night, and it's gonna be adorable.
So Elizabeth, here's what happens.
Tie.
As the spine starts to burn, a green ethereal smoke starts to rise from the ashes. It smells of sulfur. It smells of vinegar. And what happens is you wonder if you need glasses, right? Because like things get blurry. Your vision gets torn. All of you are experiencing this. Yashka's bored. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen.
I just have a scarf over my nose. It's probably sprayed with a perfume.
What happens is time becomes meaningless. The wall that separates you from the alleyway to the Sanctorium, you watch it unbuilt as the workers who built it appear to be unbuilding it in reverse. You see the foundation of the walls around the Sanctorium getting undug as it appears workers are filling it back in, even though 300 years ago they dug it up. You then see the open door that the original church had there, which was an archway. There would be no door to the church because all were welcome. But somehow 350 years ago, the church built a door and then built a wall. All of that fades away as we then see Lysum put his hand out. You all touch his hand, and he walks you where time and space doesn't matter. So there was a wall there, but now time doesn't matter, so the wall wasn't built yet. You walk through it. Lysum takes you to the gate, the door or the archway where that heavy oak wooden door stood that kept out the unseemly from the great church. This is back 375 years ago, 350 years ago, when the church didn't have a door because all were welcome. We see Lysum walk you through the open archway now.
I just turn back and go, all of this for your silly decorations. I hope you are grateful. And then I keep walking.
I am. Elizabeth, did you see your great-great-great-great-grandfather? He's so handsome.
So what's about to happen is Lysum is going to let go of your hands. And as Lysum lets go of your hands, time and space will matter again. And we'll be back to the present, outside of the ghost field. And how Lysum attunes will decide where we fall. So Lysum, I do need an attune here.
Okay.
Unless you want to approach this a different way. I just feel like it's super obvious. The threat is...
Works for me.
All right, so let's do an attune. Is there any levers you want to pull? Do you want to 2 stress for an extra die?
I've got 2 pips. I feel okay just going for it, I think.
Let's roll 2 die. So on your character sheet, just click attune.
Okay. That was my
Let's
question.
talk about position and effect.
Right.
Position. This is going to be a risky position. It could go wrong, but if it goes wrong, it's not going to be super wrong.
Okay.
Effect. I think it's going to be great effect. What your goal is to get into the inner sanctum of the sanctorium to bypass the barriers that the sanctorium put into place. The effect is great.
All right. Let's do the roll. Here we go. Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
You roll 2 die. We take the highest of the 2. That's a failure. What?
Dear.
Now, something that's to be very clear. Failure means a lot of things in this system. When we go to session 2, we're going to learn exactly what failure means. Now, understand the fiction was we bypassed the wall. We bypassed the door. We are letting go of Lysum's hand. But Lysum's attunement did not go nearly as well as he had hoped. In fact, it went very, very wrong. Josh, if you're good with this, I think we should find out how wrong that is when we get to session 2.
Sounds perfect.
No! I want to know now.
He kept his promise. He kept us
warned
on
you
a
about
terrible
cliffhangers.
cliffhanger. Yeah.
So my last question, do you guys want to have a meta discussion after this, or are we good for the night?
Let's hang after we drop off stream at least for a minute. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody watching.
I'll at least hang. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to be... So I never said this at the beginning, but the intent is for this to be kind of a mini campaign. We'll do multiple sessions of this over the coming weeks. We're juggling the schedules of 2 separate stream channels, so we're going to squeeze in the sessions when we can, and I'll try to get as much notice posted as possible of when those are going to be. It might be a couple weeks in between Forbidden Lands. So thank you for watching. Thank you so much, Craig, for coming on the channel and running this for us. It's super fun. Game is cool, and you are a pro, so we're happy to have you.
Everyone, please check out Third Floor Wars. Craig's stuff is
Go check out Craig's stuff. He's doing this as a favor, and it's super great. So,
Yeah.
have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.